So the grades are a very important part of your recruiting process and your college selection process. Normally when a player is choosing a school, there's going to be different categories. Baseball, obviously, where you fit in the process. Are you a D1, D2, D3? We've covered that. Finance is going to be an issue. How much am I willing to spend on a college education? And academics is definitely a great way to help separate the schools. So as you're trying to choose a school, you have your academic profile, you know where you fit, and more importantly, you know which schools you can eliminate that are probably below you academically, and then which schools, quite frankly, you can't get into that are above you academically. And the reason I say that's a positive is there's so many schools out there, you have to find a way to narrow it down. You don't have time to visit 200 schools. You don't have enough time to network with 200 schools. So any way you can get these schools down into a manageable number is going to help you, because you're going to have more time to focus on hopefully what will be your future destination for a college. The academic part is by far maybe the most important part of this equation. From the very basics, the NCAA has a minimum requirement that you've probably heard the term qualifier, non-qualifier. You have to get bare minimum SATs and grades just to be able to play in the NCAA. After that, obviously, it's going to depend on the different school that's recruiting you. I will say this, at least up here, from my experience in the Northeast, I have seen more players go on to play D1 baseball based on their academics than their actual baseball ability. What I mean by that is when you go to these Ivy League schools, they're so hard to get into, and they can only recruit players that fit their academic profile. Quick story, I was in Jupiter, Florida for the World Wood Bat, the top amateur contest in the country, 100 select teams, and we're standing in line waiting to get in, and I'm standing behind a coach on day one, and I'm looking at his program, and he already has all these names crossed out. So as a joke, I say, Coach, you're a better evaluator than me. We haven't even started yet, and you're already crossing guys off. He was an Ivy League coach, and he had done his research on the flight down and said, I don't care how well these players play. They can't get into my school. I don't even want to look at them. So what he did was he had already eliminated 90 to 95% of the players that could not get into his school. Now, that doesn't mean the ones left were definitely going to be a fit for him, but those were the only players he was looking at. So and I'm very careful not to mention specific schools' names in these videos, but there's certain schools out there that if they have lower academic standards means they can recruit a wider base of player, especially in the D1s. These Ivy League schools, and this is from my experience, generally speaking, they don't lower the bar much for baseball Ivy Leagues, meaning if you have very, very bad grades and you're a very, very good baseball player, you're not getting it into an Ivy League school. So as you work on your baseball, your strength and conditioning, your training, understand that, look, there's a million reasons why you should do good academically, but if you're one of those players that loves baseball and wants to play at the highest level, the academic route may get you there a lot easier than the baseball route. I think the two most important things you're going to find is one on the financial side. There is far more academic scholarship money available than there is baseball. And that academic money is going to be available D1, D2, D3. It's not unique to D1. So I always try to say to the families or the players, look at the total package, and whatever the bottom line is, it doesn't matter to me if it's baseball scholarship, academic scholarship, an additional scholarship. Scholarship is scholarship. But knowing that, especially at the D2 level where baseball scholarships are extremely limited, and Division III baseball where baseball scholarships don't exist, all of those levels offer academic scholarship money. So aside from the many reasons we've listed that you should prioritize academics, it can help you financially as you're going through the financial aid process, adding on to your need-based financial aid, and if you're at a school that offers baseball scholarships, if you're receiving any. The second part of that is gaining admission into an institution where you may not get into if you weren't an athlete. So that coach may not be able to offer you an additional tuition break, but he may say, listen, I can get you into this school where if you weren't playing baseball, otherwise I couldn't. And most college coaches I talk to, and it's hard to generalize all the coaches into one, but most of them will say, number one, a player has to be close to the admission standard. He can't be miles away. And they'll say that they can only use it in a few different instances or a special circumstance, or a coach may say, I have 2 guys a year that I can help. So the coach can't help everyone. But aside from the financial, baseball may be able to help you get into an institution that otherwise you wouldn't have if you didn't play baseball. If you enjoyed the video, please let us know by leaving a like. If you have a question you'd like answered, please leave it below in the comment section. If you want to catch more of this content, make sure you follow or subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. Thank you. See you next week.